Welcome back to Central Valley Talk. We're here. Central Valley Talk just celebrates what's good about Fresno. People, things going on around the country, around the world, and how it affects Fresno. And we asked, just for fun, a friend of ours, an old friend that was on the show 100 years ago, Faith Rosky, to come in. Now, you've left Fresno.
Yes.
You went to Bullard High.
Yes, I went to Bullard, and then I graduated, and now I go to Arizona State University.
How long have you been there?
I've been there for 2 years now.
2 years. 2 years, so you're a sophomore.
Yes.
What are you majoring in, by the way?
I'm a psychology major, and I'm minoring in philosophy.
Philosophy, wow. But you might add on?
Yes, I'm hoping to add on a Spanish minor, just because a goal of mine by the end of college is to become trilingual, and I'm almost fluent in Spanish, and I have a good chunk of French now, so I figure the Spanish minor will help with that.
Let me ask, we're not here to talk about this, but this is fascinating. Does the French and Spanish help you?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And honestly, not even just in terms of learning the languages and playing off of each other, because they're both, Latin-derived languages, but growing up, I had to take Spanish all throughout school. It was a requirement, and I hated it because I was always getting all these worksheets, and I didn't really learn anything. I was just always cramming to try and get good grades. And so finally, I had met now a really close family friend of ours, and she was born in Guadalajara, Mexico. Mm-hmm. And so her and her husband both speak Spanish, and it's their primary language. And I had spent some time with her, and I picked up a lot of things that I had thought I had left off, and a whole culture had opened up to me that I really, really appreciate now. Yeah. So,
I had a similar experience. My daughter, I study Spanish. They make us learn it forever. I'm always trying to speak Spanish. My daughter went to Italy, and she had to learn Italian, so I started taking an Italian course. Yeah. And all of a sudden, everything made sense. Mm-hmm. It just was really, they just played off each other so well.
Yeah, it's all interconnected.
Yeah. Now, let's get to where, tell me about that. I'm going to ask you all these things about Gen Z.
Sure.
First of all, what in the heck is Gen Z?
So Gen Z is anyone of, a really easy nutshell way of saying it is the younger generation. I like to think of it as anyone born from 2000 onward. Okay. 2000 is...
Any idea what the Z stands for?
Honestly, I just put it together in terms of,
we didn't bring you
Gen
in
X,
as
Gen Y, Gen Z, so we're the newest.
Okay. Well, I think I'm a baby boomer or something like that. I'm not sure what they all mean, but that's what I am. Anyway, Gen Z, I want to ask you a bunch of things about what Gen Z is going through right now. First of all, you picked up and you left for college at a crazy time. Had COVID started?
Yeah. COVID hit my senior year, actually end of junior year. But I was mainly living in it my senior year, and
in high school.
Yeah, and I'm still a bit bummed about this, but I never got a prom. But yeah, no, it really, really affected everyone, not only in terms of mental health, but also in terms of social skills. Those two really do play into each other. I believe that humans are social creatures naturally. And so with everyone being as isolated as they were, we didn't get that very basic core need of socialization.
That's a big period to your junior, senior year.
Exactly.
Where you really kind of come into yourself.
Exactly. And it's a huge transitioning point, too. Transition isn't easy for anyone. Some people, can take it better than others, but overall, it's change, you know. And those are the times, times of change are times when you need the people that are closest to you the most, and just to have advice and someone to talk to and to help you and help guide you through it. And there wasn't really any sort of guiding point except for social media, because that was as close as people could get to each other.
So people really turned to social media during this period.
Yeah, and I'll be frank with you, a lot of the values on social media aren't great. I think something that's really faulty with this generation is we idolize the wrong people. We don't really pay attention to people with, those true core values that, we should really honor, like intelligence and forward thinking and trailblazing and whatnot. We pay attention to people that, look good. And a
Based
lot
off
of
of
that is
what they look
celebrities.
like more than
Yeah,
what they're about.
Exactly. And that, files into our values as well. And that's also why I think a lot of people get body dysmorphia and everything, because they base their entire worth off of looks, because that's what social media and thus the culture has established for us.
Yeah, and it's a lot faster too.
Yeah.
I mean, TikTok's just here's something, here's
The
something,
attention
here's something.
span
Yeah.
is like this
Right.
now, I mean, as someone with ADHD, my attention span is already short, so.
By the way, my son, who's very bright, he went to Pepperdine, and then he went to
Right.
NYU for grad school, and he's composing full-length musical theater,
Wow.
Broadway shows,
That's amazing.
and he's 30, 28, 29,
Right.
27, maybe, I don't know. I should know that, huh? He comes
Around
home the other day, visiting from New York. He says, "Oh yeah, I have ADHD."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, "No, you can't. That's a..." And he said,
Yeah.
"No." He goes, "I think you have it. I think our whole family has it."
Oh, yeah.
So
It's a genetic thing, yeah.
It's not a big deal anymore.
No, not
and
at all.
probably more people have it than we knew.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And,
Good thing Gen Z, now they're ahead of that whole issue.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, we're, one thing about Gen Z, which can be a huge positive and a huge negative, is, we really, really zone in on mental health. And that's important in terms of, a lot of times with past generations, it was really, really frowned upon.
There was a
and
stigma.
It was.
Big stigma, but maybe the stigma's gone now.
Yeah, the stigma is gone. And the one thing that I, really want to caution a lot of Gen Z about is the line between, destigmatizing it and romanticizing it. Now, a lot of times in pop culture with shows like Euphoria, those things, certain scenes, not all, of course, but certain scenes and whatnot can really, really romanticize negative mental health. And so now you have, these little kids thinking that, oh, I have this, and that, or like I have depression, when they were just sad that their mom didn't make them their favorite sandwich. Mental health or negative mental health isn't something that you should strive for. It's something that you should, if you have it, then yes, I accept this, and I want to grow rather than stay stuck in it and use it as an excuse.
Well, I would say I'm learning a lot about Gen Z. Gen Z likely has the best handle on that of any generation so far.
Oh, absolutely,
Right?
absolutely.
You guys have kind of grown up with it, know about it, and seen
Yeah.
some sad things happen around you. And,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's become, and with so much happening so quickly, especially with social media, a lot of things that, generations of the past, it would be one thing that would happen to us just on a daily basis. That's, horrific for a lot of people, and it would, be something really, traumatizing for the long term. And now it's just so normal to us, and we're very desensitized to a lot of that. And it's not a bad thing, though, because I do think it makes us, mentally stronger in the process, and we can deal with things a lot better. So.
well, let me ask you this. Was very predominant and prevalent in my generation was bullying. Is that still something that goes on a lot, or is there less?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, bullying can happen at any point. It's, people, no matter where they come from, no matter how old they are, bullying is an insidious thing, and anyone can be affected by it. Good people, bad people, people that are kind of neutral. And so now with social media, too, there's easier access to bullying, but because of that, a lot of social media platforms have really taken that into account and will, ban accounts. You can flag accounts that have
can
been
go report people.
that have been harassing you. So they do take that really seriously, and I do have to give that to social media as much as I dislike it.
Yeah, another thing I'm just realizing is social media, especially because COVID and everything, that is your socializing. Tell me how that fits in the dating life, the college life, the whole Gen Z life.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm very fortunate with going to ASU. It is a really big school, so we do have more exposure to, in-person socialization, I would say. But especially in terms of dating, social media, just the internet technology has really ruined everything. A lot of people are very dissatisfied. Relationship rates are going down to such an immense level of lowness compared to what we've seen in the past. And that's because, now with the access to dating apps and everything, people don't, and because we're also living our lives through a lens of social media and just the internet, people aren't viewing each other as human beings anymore. We are a collection of pixels to people and to each other. No one can relate to each other. And with social media being such a huge partaker in our lives and our self-identification, and social media, anyone can agree, it's not fully authentic. So if you're living your life through a form and identifying yourself in a not fully authentic space, how can you and so you don't understand yourself, how can you understand anyone else? And that's the basis of dating, is an understanding, social maneuvering, and really being, socially intelligent. And we don't have a lot of that now. And people view each other as very disposable because, like you said, with TikTok and how fast things are, same thing on dating apps. You just swipe left, swipe right, you keep going and going and going. It's like you're filing through, Yellow Pages or something like that, rather than, looking at prospective partners.
Are people dating through dating apps mostly, or is it people they bump into and get to know in another way?
In terms of new relationships, it's definitely dating apps because the opportunities to meet people are so low now.
Yeah.
But in terms of, old relationships, it's typically people that, you've recycled through in terms of, someone I used to date back in, elementary school, like a goofy little boyfriend. He had a friend that I stayed kind of close with for a while, and now we're dating, but it's never really anyone new. It's really, really hard to find someone new.
Now, something you said about social media made me think about if somebody has a Facebook profile or however you guys represent yourself these days, you've created what you want people to see.
Yes.
Or I shouldn't say you. One creates who they want people to see and think they are.
Yes.
And it may not be that authentic.
And yeah, you can say me because I'm guilty of that too, of course. It's like when I was little, I think a lot of Gen Z girls can relate to this as well. Is just going on the little websites, and they used to have these fashion websites where you can pick an icon and dress them up, and flip through all the outfits and everything, and so that was fun. And so it's like you're getting to do that with your life essentially. And so certain people are recognizing that and are being more open about it. But it's a really slow process because it's really, really hard to admit when you have faults or things that aren't necessarily going to be as highly accepted by other people. And everyone, no one is perfect. And I think a lot of that, with social media and people not being able to relate to others and understand others, a lot of people can't deal with difficult emotions anymore, like sadness, and people get really overwhelmed by it when that's a completely normal thing to go through. And so when people distance themselves because, you're not doing well mentally, it's this weird dichotomy that's going on because we emphasize how important it is, and yet we can't even handle it in person. And so when people get weirded out by that and want to back off, if you're being open about your emotions, if it's not exactly what they want to hear in the moment, then of course you're not going to be as open about it because you're like, well, I'm going to lose my friends if I am open.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And let me ask you about this. Even an old guy like me, my phone's right in reach.
Right.
That's Gen Z, right?
Yeah, and it's...
Everybody has their phone in their hand all the time.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I go to coffee shops sometimes if I want to feel like I'm cooler than everyone, and I'll bring a book and I'll look up from my book every once in a while and be like, everyone's on their phones.
We call those analog books now.
Yeah.
Do you have so everybody has their phone all the time.
Yeah.
And here's what I want to ask you.
Sure.
When I was in college, if we had to write a paper, we had to go to the library and you put a quarter in a typewriter and you type for 20 minutes.
Right.
We didn't even have a computer.
Oh, I have a typewriter.
You do? Okay,
oh,
good.
I love my typewriter.
But now people are carrying these into the classroom. How's that handled? Is the
Oh,
teacher, are people doing this while the teacher's talking?
Yeah. Well, phones are programmed to be addictive, especially social media. If you really look into things, interviews and whatnot, the presidents of those social media platforms won't even let their kids download their social media because they know it's addictive. It is programmed to be that way.
Could you imagine having a product that you addict people to? That's,
I know. It's, and that's why, as a psychology major, of course, I want to go into marriage and relationship counseling, but I'm also really interested in the dark psychology part of it, just in terms of protection of myself and the people I care about, and being able to educate people about it so they don't fall into traps. But certain schools, like Bullard High School, now they have these sort of magnetized cases where, you put your phone in and it locks it. But I was talking with a friend of mine there, and people were trying to boycott, and they were, going to protest Bullard taking their phones away. And now there's this new AI program, too, where you can, I can't remember the website off the top of my head, but you can just go to this website and say, write me an essay about this,
Oh
and
my
it will
gosh.
come up with everything, and it'll generate
it's
a new
original.
essay. Every
Wow.
time.
Can you
so
imagine?
yeah, and so now our educational institutions are also falling back in terms of, because of our huge reliance and also our over accessibility to technology. Technology does all the work for us. Technology should be a tool. Yes, you know, it's great and it's helpful, but we're the ones that hold the tools. We're the ones with the toolbox. And so now it's the other way around. And we are becoming a tool for technology to keep expanding itself. And so now we're not doing as much of the work. And one of the biggest things, you know, being in academics is, you know, when it comes down to it, you have to do the work. It's an effort thing, you know. It's a work ethic thing if you really want to be successful. But like I said, with the values, you don't really need to be, you know, intelligent or prioritize learning in order to be successful anymore. You just have to look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, back to my question. People,
Yes.
are they sitting in the classroom texting their friends while the professor's
Yes.
trying to talk?
Oh, yeah.
And the professor doesn't say, phone's down, I don't allow that?
It gets to a point where when it just happens all the time
They
and
give
a
up,
community sets a standard, it's different if one person does something, then it's easier to single the person out and nip the problem in the bud.
But the whole class is,
But if everyone's doing it,
yeah,
it's, you know, it's
Wow.
like 50 to 1.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're fascinating, by the way. I could talk to you for hours. We're going to run out of
Thank
time. Every time you come back from college, I want you to come on the show.
Okay, thank you so much.
Or
I
you can
would
have
love
your own
that.
show. That would be fascinating, too.
I've been told that would be a
You're-
good idea, but
You're
yeah.
very insightful. You've got a lot of stuff figured out.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you very much. Anything else?
you.
We're out of time, but anything else you want our viewers to know or think about? Or
Absolutely. No matter what, just, you know, be yourself, and it's okay to take some time away from social media, and really do prioritize going out and seeing people in person. It really makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great advice. Last thing, I ask everybody about this, your break. Are you between semesters right now?
Yes, so I'm on break right now, but I'm actually moving up to San Francisco for an internship. I'm going to be a behavioral technician, which is
nice.
just a behavioral analyst. And so I work with children who have autism, and I'm basically an in-home therapist for them. So I'm really looking forward to
So
that.
you're leaving school behind, or?
No, I'm taking all online classes just for the semester, and because I'm, you know, in the honors college and everything else, and they really prioritize internships and
Yeah,
whatnot.
tell us the name of that honors college, by
Oh
the
yeah,
way.
it's Barrett the Honors College.
And they don't let just anybody in there.
No, you definitely, you do have to have a good GPA, but their main thing is really looking for people that are well-rounded too. Everyone I've met in Barrett is so kind. I really, really love it there. I'm very grateful.
By the way, I'm so in favor of people leaving home to go away to college,
Yes.
to get another city. My kids went to Pepperdine down in Southern California, and so you going to Arizona and getting this whole different experience, and then to San Francisco,
Yes.
somewhere in the Bay Area, which is going to be absolutely different than
I'm
anything
so
also.
excited.
So
I
good
love
for
to
you.
travel. I can't stay in one place for too long, so it'll
be
be
great.
fun.
Our guest is Faith Rosky, all the way from Arizona State University, Bullard High alum, and she's doing fascinating things, and I learned a lot about Gen Z. It's a
Great.
great topic for us. We will be back with more Central Valley Talk right after this.